Welcome to the Energy of Money webinar. If you watched the free introductory webinar from last week, you heard me share a couple of things. One, this is the first time I've taught this as a webinar, and I'm very excited about it now that I've overcome my belief that I'm not good at doing technology. And you also saw and heard that many of us have a lot of stuff around money, which just really confirms Maria's observation that money can be a source of great joy and creativity, or it can bring frustration and misery depending on our relationship with it. And we bring all of these doubts and fears and hopes and expectations with us every time we deal with money, which is, of course, every day. So we ascertained last week that many of us would rather talk about or look at anything other than money. And yet the reality is, in physical reality, which we'll talk about more in just a minute, we've got to have money, right? The truth is that money is simply congealed energy, and releasing it releases life's possibilities. That's that amazing Joseph Campbell quote that when I first heard it back in 2003, was like a light bulb went off, finally understanding money as energy, and that it's congealed. Another word for it would be solidified. It's energy whose vibration has been slowed down and has become solid. So
just like our bodies, right?
Just like our bodies. Yep, we're going to get there actually. We're going to talk about how our bodies are also congealed energy. So the meat of this course, the basic premise of this course is that how we are with money is how we are with everything. And we briefly touched on that last week when we talked about how we live in a holographic universe, which means that the smallest representation of something is the same as the largest representation of it. Another way of expressing that is that how we are with one thing is how we are with everything. And so the premise of the energy of money is that once we've learned how to focus and get very clear about the energy of money, then we're able to focus and get clear about all the energy that's available to us in physical reality. And I shared a brief story about how I had really looked at a belief that I had, this as recently as last year, that really was demonstrating either-or thinking. Now, if you coach with us, you know, and we'll talk about this more in just a minute, that either-or thinking is a monkey mind symptom. Well, I was noticing that I was engaging in some either-or thinking around money. And here's what it looked like. Either we could get out of debt or we could save money, right? Do any of you three have that, ever had that structure of knowing either I can, pay off my credit cards and my car loans, or I can save money?
Yeah.
Right? So when I recognized that that was either-or thinking, and knowing, as I do, and as we all are going to by the end of this course, that how I am with money is how I am with everything, what I really started to look at in my life was, where else in my life am I exhibiting either-or thinking, right? And I was able to look at different energies in different areas in my life where I was exhibiting either-or thinking. So this question is not rhetorical. How many of you would like to be financially successful?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what does it mean to you to be financially successful?
That I can. Oh, go ahead. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Okay, this is Kim. Sorry. For me, it's just that everything is paid off. All my rental properties are paid off, and I don't have to work. I'm working because I love to work.
Oh, wonderful. So Kim, are you signed on to on a computer, or are you just calling in on the phone?
I'm calling in.
Oh, okay. If you're at a computer, if you sign in, then you can see the slides that I'm displaying.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll see if I can do that.
The link came to you in your confirmation email.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, terrific. I'm so glad you've joined us. So yes, so say that again, just so we can get it on the recording. What does it mean to you to be financially successful?
All my rentals and everything is paid off. I have no debt, and I'm just working because I love to work.
Perfect. All right. How about the rest of you?
Oh, myself, yeah, I like to pay my house off and my car off, and I like to have the time to, I love to do my artwork and work in it and really get involved, and that would create money. And I really would love to make money through my heart. That is my desire.
Okay, great. And Pam is chatting, financial success to me means I don't have to worry about money. I have enough. Felicia, I heard you start to say something.
For me, financial success would be having a business or investments that, make enough where I don't have to go out and work hard every day.
Okay, terrific. So would you say that financial success has to do with the quantity of money that you have?
It's different for different people.
Okay, is that AJ?
Yes, it is.
Hey AJ, good to hear your voice. Yes, so many of you are familiar with our definition of success. It's actually Maria's, although in recent years we've added a word. Success is doing what you said you would do consistently with clarity, focus, ease, and grace. Okay? Success is doing what you said you would do consistently with clarity, focus, ease, and grace. We just recently, within the last year or so, added the word consistently because we realized in order to be successful, you have to do something consistently, right? You guys are successful real estate professionals because you have been working consistently at your businesses and building your skill levels and building your databases and working on the income funnel. So success is doing what you said you would do consistently with clarity, focus, ease, and grace. So what if, just for fun, we would redefine to be financially successful within the context of our definition of success, right? So what if being financially successful is simply doing what we said we would do with money consistently with clarity, focus, ease, and grace? Taking any ideas of quantity out of that definition, right? Now, what you said you would do with money might be, I sell $4 million this year, right? So it's great to have a goal around money, which everyone working with Your Coaching Matters on this call does, right? But whether your goal is to sell 100,000 or 4 million, you will be successful when you've done what you said you would do around money. So just notice that there's a shift in energy around that. There's a spaciousness around that. That in order to be successful, you don't need to be the wealthiest person on the block. You don't need to be the most successful agent in your office. Feel free to be if you want to be, right? But my point is success, the way that we look at it and the way that we work with the energy of money, is simply doing what you said you would do consistently with clarity, focus, ease, and grace. Now, in order to really benefit from this definition, and this is some of the stuff that we don't always have the time to go into in our coaching sessions, which is why we're just so thrilled to be doing this, we're going to actually break down clarity, focus, ease, and grace. And we're going to be working with it pretty intensely over the next 6 weeks. And we're specifically going to be looking at how does clarity, focus, ease, and grace show up on the playing field. And you should all be seeing the playing field right now on your screens. Again, this might be a review for some of you, but what we're going to have the opportunity to do over the next 6 weeks is really dig into this, right? Which we don't often have the opportunity to do in our coaching sessions because we're very focused on what's up that week and reaching our goals. We're going to really get to dig into this during this book study. So, quick review, the playing field is a metaphorical representation of life. Okay? Now, I say metaphorical because obviously life is not flat. Life is not two-dimensional. But this drawing gives us a really good idea of how things work in the universe and in our world. Okay? So first thing to notice is that black line across the screen. Underneath that black line is what we call visionary reality. Okay, or you could call this metaphysical reality. Metaphysical simply meaning anything outside of the physical realm. Okay? In visionary reality, energy is very high. It's very easy to get excited and inspired. It's actually easy to mistake inspiration for action, right? We're very inspired, and so we think we've actually done something. But essentially, visionary reality is where our ideas and our dreams and our visions live. It's where we really, who we are in our essence is there. What's really important to us. You see life's intentions written down there. We're going to be working on that next week. Visionary reality is where our dreams live. Okay? Above the black line is physical reality. In physical reality, things take energy. Another way of looking at that is in physical reality is dense. Where the energy of visionary reality is really high, think of this as like your energy is just really vibrating. A good way to really tap into the energy of visionary that you had a really great idea. Like this idea woke you up in the middle of the night. Okay? And there was just this sense of possibility, this sense of this is a great idea and I can do this. That's that high energy of visionary reality. Then we come into physical reality, and that energy is vibrating at a much slower level. Okay? It is literally becoming dense. Okay, meaning that we have to actually do something in physical reality in order to create. We can't just think it. We have to actually do it. So that's one of the attributes of physical reality. Another one is that physical reality is impermanent. Things are always changing in physical reality, right? Always. You know, it's so funny how we, as human beings, we tend to fight change, and yet the reality of life is change, right? Our physical bodies are changing constantly, right? And in physical reality, things are unpredictable. This is probably my least favorite quality of physical reality. I like predictability. I like things tidy. I like to know things. You know, but that's not physical reality. Things are unpredictable in physical reality. So here's what happens when we try to bring one of those dreams, one of those visions, or one of those great ideas that wakes us up in the middle of the night. When we try to bring one of those into physical reality, and usually we do this because we've created a goal. Right? This is one of the reasons we're very goal-focused at Your Coaching Matters. It is the way to bring those ideas into physical reality. What happens is that high energy of visionary reality hits the dense, lower vibrating energy of physical reality, and we have what we call trouble at the border. That's that little red squiggly line there at the border. That's called trouble at the border. Okay? So I'm just You've all experienced trouble at the border. Yes? Everybody say yes.
That's where I get stuck.
Yeah, okay. Well, trouble at the border is normal. That's the first thing we need to understand about it, okay? The way that trouble at the border shows up for us is in what we call monkey mind. All right, see the little monkey? And we're going to be looking at monkey mind in more detail in just a few minutes. But I want to reassure you that first of all, trouble at the border is normal. Second of all, monkey mind at the border is not a bad thing. In fact, monkey mind reassures us that we're doing something important, because monkey mind doesn't come up unless we are. And third, what we're going to be learning and practicing over the next 6 weeks are the skills that help us get across the border with ease. Okay? So back to success is doing what we said we would do with clarity, focus, ease, and grace. The ease part is how easily we get across the border. So let's look at each of those in a little more detail. Okay, that was a quick overview of the playing field. And here's how we apply our definition of success into playing successfully on the playing field. All right? Clarity, focus, ease, and grace are the 4 components of living a conscious life. Okay? Conscious meaning that we are aware of our choices, that we take responsibility for our choices, and that we are awake to the choices that we're making. Okay? So the 4 components of living a conscious life are clarity, focus, ease, and grace. Breaking each of those down and talking about where they live. Clarity. We really work on clarity in the beginning in visionary reality. We get really clear about who we are. We get really clear about what's important to us. And then once we're clear about that, then and only then are we ready to bring what's important to us in the form of a goal into physical reality, and that's the what do we want to do about it part. So we're clear about who we are, we're clear about what's important to us, and then we get very clear about what we want to do about it. Notice again, action. Okay, the result of coaching is always action. Okay, focus. The focus of clarity, focus, ease, and grace is learning how to use these 6 forms of energy, and we're going to begin with money, to make our goals a reality. And when Sakina was on the call a few minutes early, and we were talking about Star Wars. Okay, I love Star Wars. I love Star Trek. Just get used to sci-fi references through the next 6 weeks. But one of my favorite scenes in Star Wars is at the very end. And remember when Luke's in the fighter and he's trying to they're trying to destroy the Death Star, and they're all saying, just follow the computer, Luke, and then the voice of Obi-Wan says, you know, trust the Force, Luke. And which is a wonderful reference. But it also, if you remember, what the voice was saying was, stay on target, Luke. You know, stay on target. That's what focus is. It's developing the skills and practicing staying on target with these 6 forms of energy to make our goals a reality. That's focus. Ease, clarity, focus. Question?
You know, Luke was also told to close his eyes, right?
Yes, yeah, and to really to go within and really access that energy. Yes. Now he had to open them before he took the shot. So we want to make sure we.
I don't know. Did he close? I think he took a shot just closed eyes.
I don't know. I'll have to go watch that scene. But we definitely want, in physical reality, want to have our eyes open as we take these shots. Ease is learning to cross the border, remember that black line, by taking small, sweet steps, getting support, and celebrating each step. And then finally, grace is having the capacity for gratitude regardless of the circumstance or the situation. So next week we're going to be focusing on clarity. This week we're going to be looking at focus and ease. How do we focus these 6 forms of energy, beginning with money, so that we can get across the border with ease? So what we recognize is that focus is our ability, and this is, yes, I'm using the word in the definition, just bear with me, to focus the energy necessary to get across the border, to bring our ideas, dreams, and visions into physical reality with ease. Energy requires a conduit in order to travel. Okay? For our, excuse me?
What is conduit? I don't know.
A conduit is like a pipe.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
If you're seeing the slide on the screen, it's like a pipe. Okay? It's like a water pipe or an electric wire. An electric wire is a conduit.
Yeah, okay, I got it. Yeah.
Got it? Okay, great. So a conduit conveys energy from one place to another in an organized, systematic way. Okay? Just as an aside here, it is interesting that an electric wire is a conduit. And the understanding of how electricity flows through a wire was actually the basis for Freud's observation that he called, in his patients, that he called resistance. Right? Have we all heard of that? You know, oh, you're displaying resistance or you're being resistant.
Yes.
You've all heard that term? In fact, I've heard some of it from you. So here's the thing, and we're going to be looking at this. We're going to be addressing these and reframing them as they come up over the next 6 weeks. But resistance is a great example of a metaphor. Okay, as a conduit, we don't have that actual physical resistance that would be in an electric wire. Okay, it's one of those metaphors like blocks and stuck and boundaries, right? These are all metaphors. We're going to learn how to recognize when we're using a metaphor and get underneath it, because once we get underneath it, we can actually address what's really up with it. So for instance, resistance. I'm feeling resistant. Well, if we get underneath that, recognizing that this is a metaphor, right, that was, by the way, very popular when Freud was around, okay? Electricity was brand new, so it was very cheechy to talk about electricity and resistance. If we're willing to get underneath that, what we might notice is, well, what I'm really feeling here is uncomfortable. I'm feeling discomfort. Coach has asked me to look at something that I'd rather not look at. It's making me uncomfortable. So I'm going to tell Coach I'm resistant to this, right? Or we see something in the news that makes us uncomfortable. Or we read or we study something that makes us uncomfortable. We've kind of glommed on in our culture to this metaphor of resistance. And as long as we stay there, we don't really have the opportunity to explore, well, gosh, what is it that's making me uncomfortable right now? Is it a belief that maybe it's time for me to let go of? Am I being asked to look at or address something that I just would really rather ignore, right? That old denial is not just a river in Egypt, right? So I wanted to bring that up while we were talking about conduits and electric wires, because we are going to be looking at metaphors during the course of this class with the intention of getting underneath them so we can clean up whatever that metaphor might be muddying, okay? Because part of understanding ourselves as a conduit is, and we'll be looking at this a little bit more in just a couple minutes, we want to make sure our conduit is clean and clear. We don't want leaks. We don't want resistance, and I'm making those little quotey air quotes right now, which you can't see, right? We want clean, clear, leak-free, sludge-free, block-free, resistance-free conduits so that all the energy available to us can flow through us and demonstrate in amazing ways. So in our Western culture, we have identified and work with 6 specific forms of energy. Okay? Obviously, we're focused right now in this moment on the energy of money. Okay? There's also the energy of time. There's the energy of physical vitality. So back to your earlier observation, Sakina, yes, we are also congealed energy. Okay? In my case, some of us more than others, right? I'm trying to uncongeal some of my physical energy. There's the energy of creativity. There's the energy of enjoyment, and there's the energy of relationship. This energy of relationship shows up in how we give and receive support. So what's important for us to understand, again, we'll preliminarily be focusing on money, but we are going to be exploring all 6 of these forms of energy over the next 6 weeks. What's important for us to understand is that each of these forms of energy can be demonstrated consciously or unconsciously, right? We want to demonstrate them consciously with clarity, focus, ease, and grace, all right? Because here's the thing, guys. Anybody can bully their way across the border. Anybody can work really hard and be really miserable and get through their list every day and get that darn goal done. That is not what we are interested in doing. All right? We are interested in bringing your ideas, dreams, and visions into physical reality consciously using all of the energy available to you, okay, including money, time, physical vitality, creativity, enjoyment, and relationship. So briefly, and Maria goes into this in a lot more detail in the book, so I'm hoping that you've all either have the book or have ordered the book. I will be sending out an email to all of you at the completion of this webinar today. You will be getting a copy of the recording, but I will also be sending to your emails an email from me with a couple of handouts and suggested reading week by week for the course. So you'll be getting that after the course. I didn't necessarily want you to do any reading before today, so that's why I didn't send it out ahead of time. But briefly, the conscious use of the energy of money is in spending, right? Spending, saving, investing. You're going to see some of these are going to overlap, all right? Consciously, all right? The unconscious use of the energy of money would be leaking it or wasting it. Now notice how I'm kind of flipping back and forth here between money and time. Notice how similar the energy is around money and time, okay? Conscious use of the energy of time is investing it, or we might say spending it wisely. Unconscious use of the energy of time is wasting it. Now wasting it is by you define what a waste of time is. Okay? Some people might say Facebook is a waste of time. Right? I love Facebook because it's the way that I stay connected with my friends and family and clients, and that I also get to post my writing. So I would not think of Facebook as a waste of time. Somebody else might think of it as a waste. What?
Gives me leads.
Yes. Yes.
Big source of leads.
Yeah, and sometimes Facebook is just fun, which is, guess what? Fun is not a waste of time. We'll get to that when we get to the energy of enjoyment. But let's stick with money and time for just a minute, okay? So if you said you would do something, all right, so remember that success is doing what we said we would do consistently. You will have this memorized, hopefully by today, but definitely by the end of September. What is our biggest excuses for not doing something we said we would do? We didn't have enough what?
Money.
Or?
Time.
Yes. So notice, not only do we talk about money and time in the same way, which by the way is an unconscious recognition that they're both energy, all right? When we get very clear, and this is the other reason we'll be working with metaphors, when we spend the time to observe and get very clear about how we talk about things, it's huge clues into how we're thinking and therefore how we're creating. Okay? Notice how much we talk about money and time is the same thing. I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money. I'm wasting time, I'm wasting money. Right? Recognition that they are so similar. Conscious use of physical vitality would be partnering with your body. That means that we take care of our body. That means that we eat food that's good for us and we limit food that isn't. That means that we move. I won't use the E word, exercise, because that's going to get some of you to hang up on me, but just think of it, move. Our bodies like to move, all right? It's taking good care of our bodies. It's getting enough rest. It's going to the doctor. It's doing preventative medicine, all right? Those are all the conscious uses of the energy of physical vitality. Unconscious is basically we just ignore our body's needs, right? We don't eat right. We don't move. We don't take any vitamins or supplements. We don't go to the doctor when we need to. We don't do any preventative medicine. We're very unconscious around the energy of our physical vitality, as if we ignore it, it'll just go away. Well, this is one of those cases where that's very true, because if you ignore your health, if you ignore your physical vitality, it will go away. Right? One of the questions I like to ask around this energy is, if you took your body to a couples counselor, what would they say about you? Pretend that wasn't a rhetorical question. What would they say? What would your body say about you?
To a couples counselor? I didn't.
Yeah, if you took your body to a counselor and the counselor said to your body, well, you know, how do you feel about this person? What would your body say? Would it say that she neglects me?
She doesn't take me out to air enough and
Yep. He sits at his desk too long every day.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't listen to me. Say that again.
Not enough sleep.
Not enough sleep. I'm tired. I'm hungry.
Never enough water.
Never enough water. There you go.
I don't consistently exercise.
There you go. See? So here's what's interesting, guys. Notice that you know what your body needs. Right? The conscious use of the energy of physical vitality is moving beyond knowing what your body needs and actually doing it. All right? Creativity, the energy of creativity. The conscious use of that energy of creativity is when we are using our gifts to contribute. Right? The opposite of that, the unconscious use of the energy of creativity, is when we are using our creativity to be cunning or clever or to cheat. So for instance, it's an unconscious use of the energy of creativity when we say, oh, I was so clever in how I filled out my 1040 last year. Right? That's an unconscious use of the energy of creativity. Now here's where I start to notice more of the overlap. So for instance, for me, when I'm physically tired, right, or if I haven't eaten, my energy of creativity tanks. It is just agony for me to write a blog or to create a slide, right, because I'm tired and I haven't paid attention to my energy of physical vitality. Right? Or the other way that it can be affected is if I haven't set aside enough time. Right? Who else got into the very bad habit in college of cramming for everything at the very last minute?
Me, always.
Right? Yeah, and we might have even bought into a structure of knowing that the only way I can be successful is to have a deadline and really be under pressure. Right? Isn't that an interesting conclusion to have? When really, yeah, but what really happens is we're not allowing our energy of creativity time to breathe. Right? We're not giving it the time it needs to breathe. The energy of enjoyment. This is so wonderful. And I'll tell you what really helps me to look at my energy of enjoyment is how I approach food. Because the conscious energy of enjoyment is savoring and appreciating. right? It's savoring the day. It's being fully present. When Donna sent out the cards for the 4 Agreements book study, I got stay in the present moment. Always do your best, stay in the present moment. And that was perfect for me because for the longest time I really bought into that fun was the other F word, right? That I had too much work to do. I had too many important things to do. I did not have time for fun. I did not have time to savor and appreciate what was right in front of me. Right? Thank God I dismantled that one. Because in the energy of enjoyment, you notice these are all, none of these are more or less important than the other, and yet how many of us really focus on that energy of enjoyment and creating that sense of play in our lives? All right? The unconscious use of the energy of enjoyment is simply consuming. And again, notice how you eat. All right? Give yourself the hot fudge sundae test. Right? If someone put a hot fudge sundae in front of you, how quickly would you devour that puppy? Right? Not taking time to notice like the specks of vanilla bean in the ice cream, or the creaminess of the whipped cream, or how the nuts crunch and melt with the hot fudge. Give yourself the hot fudge sundae test. Am I just consuming this, or am I enjoying this? And the reason this one is so important, guys, back to how we do one thing is how we do everything. All right? If we're not taking the time to savor and appreciate every moment, to savor and appreciate our food, our relationships, our work, then we have to look at, what else are we not taking the time to savor and appreciate? And then finally, the energy of relationship. And this is really the energy of support, as the conscious use of the energy of relationship. Now, support, and we're going to get into this, I believe it's the 3rd or 4th class. Support doesn't mean that we do for the other person. Support means that we see the truth of who this person is, and we help them do what's important to them. Okay? It's not stepping in and saying, oh, here, I'll do that for you. All right? That is not support. It's also not manipulating, which is the unconscious use of the energy of relationship. I'll help you if you help me, right? Or I'll be really nice to you so you give me what I want. Those are all unconscious uses of the energy of relationship. So that's a very quick overview of the 6 forms of energy. And again, she goes into much more detail in the book. So please do get the book and follow along. All right, real quick, back to the playing field. We now have an idea or a dream or a vision. We know that we need to consciously focus the 6 forms of energy, including the energy of money, in order to bring that idea into physical reality. So we start to do that, and then wham. That little red line, that's wham. That is trouble at the border. That high energy of our idea has now hit the density and the unpredictability and the impermanence of physical reality, and that is when we start to hear monkey mind, our pal monkey. So, as many of you know, monkey mind, and I love the monkey. I don't, Denise, I don't know if you're on the line or not, but I'm going to credit you with this slide. And I just love that monkey that you found, because look, he's a happy monkey, you guys. He's not like one of those scary monkeys from The Wizard of Oz, okay? Monkey is not bad. Monkey is a Buddhist term that we have adopted in this coaching model that simply describes that chatter in our brain that swings from worry to fear to doubt and back again. Okay? That's all it is. We want to learn how to recognize monkey mind when it pops up so that we can shift from it, disengage with it as soon as possible. Okay, so monkey mind is not bad. All right, here's this slide if you can see it, and I'm also going to be sending you a handout on monkey mind. Really does a good job of describing that monkey is simply that function of our brain that senses that any change is bad. Okay? Monkey does not want us to take risks. Well, if we're at the border, folks, we're taking a risk because we're bringing something important to us into physical reality. All right? So think about the Wizard of Oz. Think about that scene where Dorothy's heading to the Emerald City, and she gets to the edge of that terrifying forest, which has scared children for decades, with those really scary flying monkeys, right, that are loud and dangerous looking and shrieking. And there's this little sign at the edge of the forest, and it says, "I'd turn back if I were you."
Mm-hmm.
That is monkey mind. All right? Again, it's not bad. It just thinks that any change is dangerous, that anything big that we're up to is dangerous. So basically what monkey is trying to do is to distract us. Right? He's trying, he or she, because monkey mind is a function of your brain, right? They're just trying to distract us, right, by chattering louder and louder and louder, so that we turn around and we go back and we stay safe. Because monkey can't differentiate between stepping in front of a bus, right, and creating a goal worth playing for. They are both equally scary to monkey mind. All right? So those folks that we observe as being successful in physical reality, and those are the folks that do what they say they're going to do with clarity, focus, ease, and grace, they have learned how to recognize their monkey mind and very quickly become more interested in something else. Mm-hmm. That something else may be who you truly are in your hero's heart. It may be the goal that you're currently working on. It may be what's true about any given situation, which we'll learn how to do next week. But the big skill here is learning how to shift our attention from the monkey mind to what's really important to us. Okay? Because the truth about monkey mind is that it is inevitable. Right? I'm actually doing in the next couple of weeks, I'm doing a Monday Mindset call where we really learn the truth about monkey mind, and that is that it is the loyal opposition. Right? Without monkey mind, there is no need to practice. There is no need to get good at what we're doing. Okay? The fact that we're experiencing monkey mind says that we are up to something big. So for instance, some of you might have experienced monkey mind when you first considered taking this webinar. Some of you shared with me, I have all sorts of money stuff. I hate money and I love money. You know, I'm freaked out about looking at money. Those are all, that's monkey mind. Great, very clear. I'm having monkey mind about looking at the energy of money. Right? We want those to surface. Okay? Some folks say to me, well, why do you start off by talking, we get why you start off by talking about the playing field. That's an important metaphorical representation for us to understand. But then why do you go into monkey mind? Like, it's so negative and I don't want to think about it. So first of all, we're going to let go of negative and positive for the next 6 weeks. Okay? And we're going to reach an understanding that we must understand what monkey mind is in order to not give it any energy, in order to not give it any attention, in order to understand that that chatter in my brain is not what's real, it's not what's relevant, it's not what's going to help me reach my goals. It is something that we have called monkey mind, and we have the capacity to not be interested in it. All right? We are not going to analyze your monkey mind. If you have an undying need to do that, take it to a therapist. We're not doing it. Right? Because here's the thing, and many of you already get this. What we focus on, what we give energy to in our lives is what's going to increase. Mm-hmm. Right? If we focus on, if we try to argue with monkey mind, if we try to analyze monkey mind, if we try to figure out, why is my monkey mind saying this, what are we going to have more of? Bingo. We want less monkey mind. So it is paradoxical. We have to know what monkey mind is. We have to learn how monkey mind shows up in order to not be interested in monkey mind and give it any more energy. Okay? So what we're going to be practicing is how to observe our monkey mind and not, and there's that cute little monkey again, so that we don't give it energy. This is a key phrase, and I know any of you that coach with us, you've heard us say this, thank you for sharing. Okay? Learn that phrase. In fact, everybody repeat after me, thank you for sharing.
Thank you for sharing.
Well done. This is not being snarky, right? This is not being flip. That is a key phrase that we learn to help us shift from monkey mind to something way more interesting. Okay? Thank you for sharing, monkey. Have a banana. Go play in your basket. I understand you're just trying to keep me safe, right? But I am more interested in doing what I said I would do with clarity, focus, ease, and grace. All right? So what you have on the screen in front of you now, and this will be part of the handout that I'm sending to you after the call, are the monkey mind symptoms. These have actually been quantified to help us identify when what we're engaging at the border is in fact monkey mind. Because another skill we're going to be developing together is learning to tell the difference between a monkey mind symptom, right, the chatter of monkey mind, and our inner voice of wisdom. What we want to give energy to is our inner voice of wisdom. And Sakina, to your point, that's what Luke was accessing when he closed his eyes.
Well,
right?
this is so big. This is so big. And this is exactly what I want. Yeah. Yeah. It's very difficult.
So interestingly enough, again, back to the paradoxical nature of this, we need to learn these monkey mind symptoms in order to observe them when they come up so we can shift the focus of our attention to something more interesting. Okay? The symptoms are on the screen in front of you: fragmentation, being paranoid, scarcity thoughts, either-or thinking, qualifying statements. That's that kinda, shoulda, maybe, possibly game that we play. Complaining or petulance, being a victim or martyr, taking things personally, talking of the past or future as if it is the present, excuses, being defensive, deflection, solidifying, bargaining, resignation, comparison, being vague, justification, impulsiveness, and rationalization. Anybody recognize any of those?
All of them.
Yes, of course you do, because we're human, right? I had a client ask me one time, "Oh, well, Steph, when is my monkey mind going to go away?" And I said, "Oh, honey, when you're dead. Monkey mind is simply a function of our brain. It's simply part of the human condition." Again, monkey mind is not bad. Monkey mind is not against us. It's simply misguided. Right? It simply, as I said, doesn't understand what a real crisis or emergency is. Like my 2-year-old granddaughter just ran out in the street, right? And I'm working to bring this goal into physical reality. Okay? So monkey mind will say, "Oh man, it's gotten really hard to bring this goal into physical reality. That must mean that you're not supposed to do it." Anybody other than me ever have that monkey mind conversation?
Mm-hmm.
If you were really meant to do this, it'd be really easy, right?
Yes.
Real quick differentiation. Thank you, I'm not the only one, right? Real quick differentiation between ease and easy, okay? Ease is, remember, clarity, focus, ease, and grace. Ease is not the absence of work. In physical reality, that's part of everything takes energy in physical reality. In physical reality, we actually have to do something in order to create. Okay? Ease is the absence of struggle and angst. Okay? It's not the absence of work. not the absence of creating goals and coming up with a plan and taking small, sweet steps to get across the border. Okay? So when you hear Monkey saying, well, you know, if you were really supposed to do this, this would be easy, thank it for sharing and refocus on that goal. Okay, we're going to have an entire call on goals and how we create them. And again, I'm just delighted to be doing this because we're going to get to go into a lot more depth and detail than we normally get to. So here's your first homework assignment for today. Okay? Between now and next Wednesday, I want you, and again, you'll be getting this in a handout. Not only will you be able to watch and listen to this again, but you'll be getting this in a handout. I want you to work with these monkey mind symptoms. And in the handout, there's actually kind of a definition of each one, so that will help you with this. I want you to identify your top 3 monkey mind symptoms. Okay? Now, when I say identify, I mean observe without judgment. Right? Remember, every human being on the planet, the Dalai Lama has monkey mind. Mother Teresa had monkey mind. Okay? It's a function of our brain. It's part of being human. So without judgment, I want you to observe. I want you to look down this list, and I want you to write down your top 3 monkey mind symptoms. Okay? You can think of these as your default or your screensaver. Okay? And we're going to work with them a little bit at the beginning of the next class. So make sure that you do that. And again, it's not for you to say, oh, I'm a terrible person, these are my top 3 monkey mind symptoms. No, it's learning what our default at the border is so that we can quickly identify when we're having a monkey mind fit, right, and decide to become more interested in something else. Your second homework assignment is going to be to create what we call your money autobiography. Okay? There's a handout that has a list of questions. These are just a couple of samples. The questions actually come straight from the book, but I've created a handout for you so you don't have to recreate them. You can just print out the handout and work with it. You might want to get a journal for this next 6 weeks, okay? Because I am going to be asking you to journal some things, to write some things down, and this is one of those things. You do not have to do every question. You may want to do every question, right? Because part of here's the not so hidden curriculum of this exercise. This is going to bring stuff up. This is going to bring up monkey mind. This may bring up some feelings. This may bring up some judgments, right? We want all of that to come up, okay? So this is just a sample of some of the questions. What were your family's financial circumstances when you were born? When did you first learn about money? Who did you learn about money from? What were the circumstances around the learning about money? Right? Did you have an allowance? Did you have to work for it, or was it just given to you? Right? If you have kids, how do you handle allowances with your own kids? So the questions are things like, when's the first time you bought something with money that you saved yourself? Right? I remember one of the very first things I bought with money I'd saved for myself was a birthday present for my mother, and just how incredibly proud I was of that. Right? When was your first job? When did you get your first paycheck? Right? What did you do with it? A little more esoterically, regarding money, what do you want to be known for? Right? If when people were talking about you and your relationship with money, what would you want them to say? Right? How are you with money? Recognizing that how we are with money is how we are with everything. So again, the whole list of questions is going to be sent to you as a PDF right after this call, so you'll have those, and they are also in the book. I know some of you have ordered the book, but it hasn't come in yet, and I didn't want you to be held up on this assignment, so you will be getting these attached to an email. Okay, so your homework for this week, observe and identify your top 3 monkey mind symptoms, and you might notice that, and your second assignment is creating your money autobiography, and you might notice that the 2 of those go hand in hand. Okay, you might notice those top 3 monkey mind symptoms coming up as you complete your money autobiography. So, Any questions about anything that we covered today?
Stephanie, and I don't know if this is getting ahead, but I'm wondering, how do you distinguish between monkey mind and something that may be, in fact, danger or a problem?
Yes, we're going to talk about that at the top of the next class.
Okay, good.
Once you've identified, I want you to really get clear what your top 3 monkey mind symptoms are, because then that question, we can actually get more specific and more relevant than just answering it in a more general way.
Okay, thank you.
Sound good?
Yes.
Yes, and the other thing we're going to, this is Felicia, right?
Yes.
Okay. The other thing we're going to do, Felicia, is we're going to be looking at differentiating between monkey mind and what we call your inner voice of wisdom. You know, some people might call it your intuition, you know, the still small voice, whatever. But there is a difference. And sometimes monkey's pretty tricky, right? Because monkey speaks in the language that we speak. So for instance, in my ministry, you know, monkey would frequently show up as, well, God told me to. Right? God wouldn't want this to be this hard, so I must not, you know, be meant to do it. Right? I know I signed up for the usher team, but God told me this morning that I didn't really need to show up and usher. Right? Do you get it? So you might notice, let's go back to the symptom card. You might notice there excuses, justification, impulsiveness, rationalization. Did I miss any in there? So we will learn to differentiate between, yes, when there is truly something dangerous, and just as if not more importantly, we're going to learn to differentiate between monkey mind and our inner voice of wisdom. And I'll give you a hint. It's all about the energy. Okay.
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 Yeah, I'm thinking only 3. There's a ton that I could probably pick.
I know, and if you say, oh gosh, I just couldn't possibly narrow it down to 3, then one of your top 3 is probably being vague.
It is.
There you go. See, you're brilliant. You're brilliant. So notice the energy in which we just looked at that, right? We're laughing, we're going, oh yeah, there I go again, right? When you do that exercise, when you become willing to observe and discern your top 3 monkey mind symptoms, hold it lightly, right? Tell the truth about yourself. It's so freeing to say, yep, there I go again, doing it again. You know? Hold it lightly. And I promise we will have some fun with this. Yes.
I have right problem with clarity. You know, it's just like I can do so many things and I can do it well if I put my energy in there. But then I want to, you know, clarify what is my heart. Well, what do I want to pursue, that then I can have consistency and then, you know, the other things follow. But if I don't have clarity, I cannot take the next step.
Absolutely, and that's why we're going to be working on clarity throughout this entire class. So the first thing we're going to get clear on are your top 3 monkey mind symptoms.
Okay.
Top 3. And then next week we're going to get clear on some other stuff. But this is what we want to do first, guys, is surface the monkey mind, right? Because that way, as we're moving forward, you'll recognize it when you see it and hear it in your head. Right? So the first thing we're getting clear about are your top 3 monkey mind symptoms. Because another way of looking at this, you know how I say clarity is about getting clear about who you are, what's important to you, and what you want to do about it? It's also about getting clear about who you're not. You're not your monkey mind. And we want to get clear about that first. Getting clear about that clears the playing field. Right? Remember we talked about the conduit of energy, and I actually talked about this last week in the free webinar about how important it is that our playing field and our conduits are clean and clear. So part of being clean and clear is learning to recognize what our monkey mind sounds like. Right? I know it sounds counterintuitive, but trust me. Trust me.
Yeah.
You want to be clear about this before you move on to anything else. Otherwise, your monkey mind is going to be coming up in subsequent classes and in subsequent exercises, and you're not going to recognize it as such because you haven't gotten clear about this. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes. What did you say the three were? Who you are, and what was the second one?
Who you are, what's important to you, and what you want to do about it, which is where the action comes in. And you will see that on the slide that I showed earlier when you get the repeat of this, when you get the recording of this. Okay?
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, this is really good. I mean, this is what I had a problem with, and that's where I'm stuck. I mean, most of
Good.
my life.
Well, if you are willing to engage in this course and to do the exercises and to do the homework, and most of all to be willing to observe, I guarantee you, first of all, you will recognize that stuck is a metaphor, and second of all, you will get unstuck.
Wow.
How's that?
Oh, wow.
All right, guys. If there aren't any other questions, I am going to stop the recording.